Alright, this is Flow Wintermute and I'm continuing where Toby and Jacob left off, and we're now looking at the basses. The bass of the track pretty much consists of this sub-bass track and the mid-range track, so we're listening to the sub-bass. It's pretty much the groove that we established in the short snippet that Toby showed off. So it's made of a pretty harsh FM bass sample. I made that up in Operator, I think, in Ableton Operator, so an FM synth similar to FM8. And yeah, if I go through here, we just added some distortion and a high cut, some additional low bass, so artificial bass enhancer, another high cut, I think. Oh, wild EQing. Yeah, but pretty much cuts off the tops. This does nothing, and limited to capture any peaks. Oop. And the sidechain compressor, but I'm gonna talk about that later. Yeah, this is pretty much the bass groove. Sub-bass groove, yeah, that is. And then there's the mid-range pattern, which is this one. Nothing spectacular, just an 8-note pattern. So if I take off the plugins, yeah, just a short steady sound. We bounced out and rearranged. Some EQing on here, notching out some peaks. Chorus to widen the stereo spectrum. Another EQ, cut off some of the top end. Some distortion and filter modulation. An envelope shaper, I guess, to cut off the attack a bit, so it's not as snappy as before. Another EQ. Oh. Boosting the top end again. Yeah, well, things like that happen in the process, and the filter to draw in some automations later on. And those two elements, so the main bass and the sub bass, pretty much make up the groove. I forgot to add, those two elements are both sidechain compressed and are triggered with or by this track over here. So we tend not to use the kick directly as a trigger, but a separate signal. So in the end you have more control of it. You can change the sidechain groove, and yeah. So this is without the sidechain, and with sidechain. It adds some subtle dips into the signal, and yeah. So, apart from those elements, we have a few little bits and pops and sounds that just appear at the end of a bar, like those two. Just the top and the high layer. But yeah, nothing spectacular going on here, although we already bounced it out. Let's see. Yeah, there are even more. I'll just go through them quickly. There's not much going on here, just in most cases just some stereo widening and low cutting, so we clean up the low end. Yeah. Just some little sounds to spice up the bass. What's over here? Added some we used some Neonlight bass sample. We just time stretched it and created those. Yeah, the Cubase time stretch, if you use it extremely, it creates those artifacts, which can sound interesting in a context of a song. So this, yeah. What's over here? More bass bits. Yeah, anyway, all those bass elements get routed into a group, as with the drums. So they all get routed to all bass. No processing going on here. But as with the drums, we created an additional New York compression or parallel compression channel just for the bass. That's the one over here. So if I solo the bass and remove the New York, so yeah, that's the signal without the New York compression, and if I add it up now, adds quite a bit of weight to it. There's just a UAD 1176 compressor on it, working quite hard, and some additional saturation with the Saturn. Yeah, the parallel signal and the original signal both again get routed to another bus, which should sum up everything. And there's again another compressor working on it, catching off some peaks, tip saturation for some additional glue, and finally a limiter to cut off any peaks. So yeah, nothing fancy going on in the end. I guess most of the work is in the bass groove, and yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll keep it at that for now.